All right, good evening, everyone. Please, can someone confirm that they can hear me? Good evening.
Good evening, I can hear you.
All right, thank you, Deborah. So welcome to welcome to the JIIPCC Mentorship and Internship program. Our welcome to our third week, right? Welcome to our third week for the third and fourth quarter of 2024. I am happy to have each and every single one of us currently in class. I'm sure it's going to be an exciting day today, and we'll be hearing from our mentors. We'll be having an interactive session, hopefully by God's grace. So last week we took healthcare fraud, right? And our mentor asked that we divide the class into two. So in this week we'll be having patients' rights and medical patients' rights, evidence gathering, and I think is it medical malpractice if I'm not mistaken. So just to get into the business of today, okay, before we do that, right, there's an announcement that we'd like to make. The JIIPCC Academy is currently hosting a free legal clinic for creatives, for entertainers, for artists, for innovators, and for startup. This is an opportunity. We call it the JIIPCC Pro Bono sessions. We call it JIIPCC Pro Bono sessions. We hold these sessions to give 20 minutes free consultation slots with professionals. So we have professionals who are willing to give free advice to people who have seemingly legal issues that they would like to address. If you have such people, you can always refer us to them who are looking for legal, like some form of legal advice, legal consent. You can always reach out to us. I'll do well to send you the link so that you can register for it, and they can put down their names and receive free legal advice as regards a wide varieties of areas, as we have mentors who are well equipped to cover those. We have professionals rather who are well equipped to cover those areas. So please do not forget, JIIPCC is offering free pro bono JIIPCC is offering free pro bono sessions and advice to people who are looking for that particular kind of help. So moving on to today's class, right? We are expecting two mentors in session today. The first mentor we are expecting today is Dr. Omoye Arita, Dr. Omoye Arita Utom. So Arita is, for more than 6 years, Dr. Omoye Arita Utom has been practicing conventional medicine in Nigeria. She is extremely passionate about combined orthodox and alternative medical techniques to bring back the body's overall wellness and health. Dr. Arita lives a balanced life. She's a proactive health lifestyle advocate, a singer/songwriter, and she enjoys scientific research, rehabilitation technology, and nature. She provides her clients with information on how to love themselves to every cell in order to achieve optimum wellness. Some of her works focus include degenerative diseases of the spine, um, geriatric house calls, integrative therapy, and research on the effects of vitamin D3 supplementation in chronic pain management. These are some of her qualifications. She's a doctor of medicine from Ukraine, diploma of complementary medicine from Malaysia, family planning practitioner from the USAID, spinal flexibility and strength exercise specialist here in Nigeria, member of the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, member of the Nigerian Medical Association, and registered with the Ukraine Medical Council. So this is our first mentor for today, Dr. Arisa. I don't think she's yet here with us, but she'll be joining us shortly. Secondly, our mentor who has been with us from week one, he needs no introduction. Mr. Ebenezer Egwatu. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. I can see you already here in class. You're welcome, sir. So Mr. Ebenezer Egwatu is a legal practitioner, medical law consultant, certified mediator, a trained legislative drafter, and a passionate patient rights and safety advocate. He is the principal partner, Law Funds Multidisciplinary Consults, a firm that provides innovative legal solutions located in Abuja, Federal Capital Territory, Nigeria. He is also the founder and executive director of Lawyers Arise for the People Initiative, a patients' rights and safety advocacy NGO. Ebenezer is a trained medical care assessor by International Medical Law Centers, St. Kitts, North America. He is a member of the Nigerian Bar Association, member Medical Law Professionals Association of Nigeria, member Institute of Medical and Health Law, member Bioethics Society of Nigeria, member Patient Safety Africa, member World Association for Medical Law, and member Association of Legislative Drafter and Advocacy Practitioners. He currently serves as the chairman, Health and Medical Law Committee, Nigerian Bar Association, Association Gariki Branch, Abuja, the Public Relation Officer, Institute of Medical and Health Law, and the legal team lead for Make Our Hospitals Work campaign, a citizen-led community-based advocacy to improve the quality of healthcare services in hospitals and primary healthcare facilities across Nigeria. He trains doctors, nurses, healthcare professionals on promoting patients' rights and avoiding medical negligence. He is an avid reader and researcher and loves to serve God by serving humanity. Thank you so much, Mr. Ebenezer, for joining in. We're happy to have you here. So, like I earlier stated, our topic for today is going to be centered. It's going to be centered around medical malpractice, patients' rights, and evidence gathering. So, we will just be giving the floor over to Mr. Ebenezer to give us an introduction into the subject matter for today.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dennis. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Can anyone hear me? Please confirm
Yes, sir.
that you can hear
Yes, sir.
me.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Awesome.
We can hear you.
Glad to have everyone on the call. We are just 7 people here. What's the problem? Are people no longer interested in the program?
Well, sir,
Dennis.
a few people reached out to me that they would be unable to join in for today's session. I think that's has been the issue. So I will still be reaching out to a few people on the group to ask the issues they are currently having with the program, and if it's an issue of non-availability, then we'll be removing them from the program.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, welcome everybody. Today's topic is loaded. It's a topic that I am passionate about. I am very particularly interested in medical negligence, in patients' rights, in evidence gathering, because evidence gathering has been a serious challenge in issues that border, or rather in patients' rights, medical negligence litigation, because the court deals with evidence. So the court does not understand just stories. The court is not a place of emotion. So what the court deals with is hardcore evidence. If you cannot prove it, then you should not take it to court. If you cannot prove it, you should not bother taking it to court. So that's basically what um what evidence gathering is all about, how you go about getting your evidence to present your case, especially where the environment is not conducive for evidence gathering. Now, when you are in the hospital, you do not pray for the worst. So you do not pray for the worst. You do not pray for the worst at all. But at the same time, knowing the environment you are in, being Nigeria, you also guard yourself by taking steps ahead of time, just in the event, just maybe, the thing you are praying against happens. How do I establish it? So that's the reason we are doing evidence gathering as a course, as part of today's Then a patient's rights basically revolves around, firstly, patient's rights is new or relatively new. It's a developing area of law in Nigeria. So it is a developing area, but other parts of the world, patients' rights has been there. So, but we are catching up with the Western world as it relates to patients' rights in medical law and human rights, because it is more like the intersection of medical law, medicine, and human rights. So that is where patients' rights comes in. So what do we stand to benefit in today's course? Firstly, today you will know your rights, because I used to tell people that everybody is a potential patient. By that I mean everybody is a potential patient. If you are a human being, you are a potential patient. That means that one day you will find yourself in the hospital receiving treatment. If you did not go to the hospital, you will go to the pharmacy. You will require medical care. You will have drugs prescribed for you. No matter how you pray against it, it is not a sin to be ill. It's just showing you the frailty of the human nature. So, but what rights govern the relationship between a patient and a healthcare establishment? Because you are a healthcare service consumer, so to an extent, you are a customer. In fact, some people, some authorities view the patient as a customer of the healthcare facility. So we will also be looking at patients' rights. And lastly, we will look at medical negligence, what medical negligence is all about, and how do we go about preventing medical negligence. So I want you to tighten your seat belt. Is going to be an interesting and engaging session. Thank you very much. Over to you, Dennis.
All right,
Hello,
thank you very
Dennis.
much. Can you
Hello?
hear me, sir? Yes, I can hear you, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
All right, thank you so much,
Yes.
Mr. Ebenezer, for
I
that
said over to
introduction.
you. I'm done with the introduction.
All right, thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful introduction to today's topic. During the course of the week, right, from last week, we are supposed to have presentations from group 2, if I'm not mistaken, as regards to this particular class. But some of them reached out to me. The group leader reached out to me saying that the group presenter will not be available and we may not be able to have presentations. However, it seems group 1 was able to make a presentation in line with the topic. Right. So please, I don't know if the presenter for group 1 is available in session and will be able to make presentation. So if we have members of group 1 on call and they are ready for their presentation, please, they can carry on. Do we have anyone from group 1?
Hello.
Do we have any?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm in group 1, and our presenter will be Deborah Oladipo. So I
All
think
right. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel, for that.
Daniel.
Yes. So
Sir.
please, can we have Deborah, if you are with us, please, can you kindly start sharing your slides so that we can have presentation and then we can move on with the topic for today. Deborah, are you with us?
Is there, if she's not around, maybe I'm trying to fetch my this thing. So we just go ahead so that we do not waste time. I have a
She's around
little.
now. She's around, sir.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Deborah. Please, you can go ahead and if you can, please share your screen and go ahead and start the presentation. Deborah, are you with us?
I think if you can help her to share the slides, which can is having some issues sharing the slides. Yeah.
All right, let her go ahead and start the presentation. I will say share the slides on her behalf.
All right, please, thank you. Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah. Good evening.
So my name is Deborah Oladipupo, and I'm presenting on behalf of Group 1, and our topic is healthcare fraud and abuse, the medical malpractice, patients' right, and evidence gathering. So we have our outline, different things we'll be discussing. So I'll talk about healthcare fraud. Healthcare fraud is a deliberate deception or misrepresentation of facts
No, we
for
discussed
financial.
that last week. Just go to patient
discussed-
slides so that you don't
Okay,
waste time.
okay,
We discussed
all right.
healthcare fraud last week.
Okay.
So go to
Okay.
the patient's aspects.
Okay, here it is. Let me see if it's already sharing my slide. Is my slide on this?
It's coming up right now, so please just continue.
I think she's having a network problem. Just give her a few minutes. I think she's out of the group. Just give her a few minutes, please. I think she's back now.
Okay. Mr. Dennis, please, are you able to get my slide?
Is it this on the screen?
Hello, Dennis.
I can
Okay.
hear you. But
Okay.
yes, is this the on the screen? Is this the slides? Deborah, are you with us?
Which slide is this?
It's a slide on patients' rights.
That's wow. Where did she pick this slide from?
No, this is not our
Hello.
slide.
Okay, this is not your
Where
slide.
did you
Sorry.
get this slide from?
No, this is not ours.
Oh,
Who
alright,
posted
sorry.
that slide, please? Dennis. Hello?
I noticed it
Dennis.
on the group. Yes, sir.
Where did you get this work from?
I noticed it was on their group, so I thought it was their slide.
Wow. Do you know the funniest thing? You know why I'm asking that question?
No, sir.
I did this work in 2016 when I was with the Center for the Right to Health. Check, flipping, you will see my name there. Associate Editor, Ebenezer Guatu.
Wow.
So just flip to the
I
next
think
page.
I was the one that saw the material.
Eh? I did it. Just flip. You will see. Have you seen the name? You see Dr. Stella. You will see Associate Editors, Researcher, Barrister Evelyn Oga. She's in UK now. But B. Desefune, the project manager. Then Ebenezer Iguatu. Then Jennifer was under me. He has her own
sir, we can
NGO
see
now.
it.
What a small world.
Yes.
Okay. Well, part of what we are going to discuss is already contained in this book. It's a good material. It's not exhaustive, but it's a good material
Yes,
to
sir.
discuss patience. In
Yes,
fact,
sir.
the title of the hey, God of mercy, Shataya. Okay, it's good. It's a good material, but
Wow.
it is not exhaustive. Yes, it's not exhaustive. I've improved on this work. I've improved
So,
on
all
this
right,
work.
thank you, Mr.
So
Ebenezer.
do they have
For
their
the group
slide? If they
presenter.
don't, we can make progress.
All right, so please, the group presenter, can you kindly send me the presentation again? It seems I don't have it.
Okay, while we wait, because I have limited time, I have a meeting I need to rush to, but let's browse through what we can discuss. Uh, basically, this is the book now. Is it not? Can you take this down?
Yes, sir. I'm taking it down.
Okay, so while they sort themselves out, let us flow. What is patient's rights? Basically, any idea? The class has started. What is patient's rights? What is patient's rights? When you hear, particularly those of you that are lawyers or law students, what is patient's rights? Huh? Any 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 response? You have been reading. Those of you who are supposed to,
Sir,
yes, just talk, answer.
okay, I can say that patient's can be defined as the right of a patient to a treatment, the right to give consent to a treatment or not to give consent to a particular treatment. That's just how I
Okay,
understand it.
that is how you understand it. That's a good attempt. That's blessing, right? Another person.
Yes,
Another
sir.
person. What is patient's rights?
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, patient right is the right a patient has to get the maximum medical and professional attention for the treatment of the ailment he or she has.
God of mercy. Can you see definition? The right a patient has to get the maximum attention to the treatment of the ailment he or she has. That's a good one. Let's go again. Next person. That's a fair attempt. Next person. Let's have a final one. A male this time around. Two ladies have spoken. So let there be gender equality or gender equity or gender balancing, whatever it is. So can we have another person? A male, preferably. Can we have another person? I will call names. So what's the meaning of this? Blessing answered. Who was the second person that spoke? Victoria, are you the second person?
Yes, I was, sir.
Okay. Okay, now you are a law student, right?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Omokere.
Yes, sir.
Where is she?
Yes, sir.
She has this. Okay. You are a law student. So tell us. And you are doing medical law, right?
Yes, sir. I did law and medicine. I'm so sorry, sir, but I just joined the call, so I've not been following.
Yes, I know.
I don't know what was
I
asked.
know. What is patient's rights? Just tell me what you understand. If you hear
Okay.
patient's rights, what come to your mind? Tell me quickly.
Okay. That is the rights bestowed on you as first of all, as a human being and as a patient. The the rights you have that are owed to you, probably by the medical practitioners or medical officers that are going to dispense whatever healthcare facility that needs to be dispensed upon you.
Okay. Now, I have gotten what I wanted. What I wanted to establish is the fact that you people will find it difficult to define patients' rights. And if you go through if you research, in fact, as we are talking now, open your Google, type what is patient's rights, give me the definition. You will see that it is almost like saying patient's rights are the rights that patients have. Patient's rights consist of rights to informed consent, rights to information, right to uh, right to okay, I've mentioned consent, right to privacy, right
Quality
to
health.
they will just mention everything. Now they are listing, they are not defining. So it took me years to get to the definition I'm going to give you now, and this is my personal definition of patient's rights. Patient's rights refer to those rights that guarantee professional, one, the class has started, quality, two, transparent, three, and safe healthcare service delivery to a patient. I will take it again. That's not all the definition. Patient's rights are those rights that guarantee professional, quality, transparent, and safe healthcare delivery to a patient, as well as respect for the dignity of the person of the patient by healthcare professionals while providing care. Now, it is complex and it is simple. Patients' rights are those rights that guarantee, number one, professional, meaning that the person who attends to you is a professional, not a quack. It guarantees quality, meaning that the healthcare service you receive is qualitative. It guarantees transparent because the last week we treated healthcare fraud. So if it is transparent, then it is devoid of fraud. Then it guarantees safe healthcare delivery because there are instances that there have been cases of unsafe care practices. Then these four are clinical, medically related. Then the legal component comes in as well as respect for the dignity of the person of the patient. So if you have given quality, professional, transparent, and safe care, and in the course of doing this, you abuse the dignity of the person of the patient, you have not accorded that patient his full rights. What you have done is that, if I have not accorded any rights, what you have done is that you have discharged your professional duty as a healthcare practitioner, because you are expected, of course, to be professional, administer quality care, be transparent, and give safe healthcare delivery. That is your professional angle. The legal element is respect for the dignity of the person, of the patient, by healthcare professionals while providing healthcare service to the patient. So that's what patient's rights is. Now we will look at sources of patient's rights. What are the sources of patient's rights? We have patient's rights in Nigeria, as we know it today, they are not all contained in a singular document. We have the National Health Act. The National Health Act regulates healthcare service delivery in Nigeria generally. So inside the National Health Act, it talks about the role of government. It talks about the different committees of government. It talks about the role of healthcare professionals. It talks about the rights of the patient, different certifications. Do you get it? So the National Health Act alone, there are just like 5 or 6 sessions inside the National Health Act that relates to patients' rights. The rest of the document talks about different areas of medicine and what the government should do, the different functions, the different rules, the different certifications, the different committees to be set up by the government to ensure safe healthcare service delivery. So you cannot say that the National Health Act is a compendium of patients' rights. No. We have the Patients' Bill of Rights. We have the 1999 Constitution. So patients' rights in Nigeria are scattered in different legislations. So what are the sources? We have one, international conventions and treaties. That's where it begins. International conventions and treaties. So under this, we have the Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948, which is the foundation of any human rights document you want to talk about globally. So the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a patient's rights document or a foundation document for patient's rights. You have the Declaration of Geneva. Now, the Declaration of Geneva is what was later adopted as the Hippocratic Oath, which is what the healthcare professionals utilize whenever they are doing induction. So Declaration of Geneva is there as another international source of patients' rights. You have the International Convention on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, 1966. Then you have the Helsinki Declaration. Now, Helsinki Declaration is a cornerstone document on human research ethics. You recall that during the Nazi time of Hitler, they were doing all manner of things to human beings. In fact, the kind of experiments they were doing was horrific, in the sense that they will capture somebody and say, okay, let us look at how a human being will react in an oil that is boiled to 100 degrees centigrade. And that's supposed to be an experiment. Let us see how a human being will react if he's put in frozen ice that is up to maybe minus 0.00000 Celsius. Then they will now put. So the Helsinki Declaration of 1970 brought about the human research ethics. It introduced ethics as far as human research is concerned, such that today, okay, 2 weeks ago, we talked about ethics, medical ethics. So, such that today, if you are doing research, there are things you are not allowed to do. There are things you are allowed to do. So, we have the Lisbon Declaration of 1981. This was a major effort of codification of patients' rights in a single document. The Lisbon Declaration was the first time a document was coming into place that we have patients' rights as written down. These are body of laws we know as patients' rights. Lisbon Declaration of 1981. Then another source of patients' rights, we've talked about international conventions, we've talked about international conventions and treaty. Another source of patients' rights is acts of the National Assembly. So we are back home now to Nigeria. State laws. Okay, let me differentiate. Federal laws first. Let's deal with federal laws. The 1999 Constitution is the ground norm, the most important law of the land. Chapter 4 of that compendium of laws talks about fundamental human rights. So everything you have in chapter 4, except maybe 2, are all patients' rights. When you talk about rights to life, you are talking about patients' rights. When you talk about respect to dignity of the person, you talk about patients' rights. When you talk about freedom from torture, freedom of movement, you're talking about patients' rights, because one of the rights of a patient is that a patient should not be detained against his will. Do you understand? So you have cases where a patient does not pay or is unable to pay hospital bill and the hospital detains the patient. We call it false imprisonment in law. So that is against the rights of the patient, and it's also against the fundamental human right to freedom of movement. So you now see. So chapter 4, many of the sessions under chapter 4 fall under patients' rights. So we now have the National Health Act, which is one of the major health law in Nigeria, talking about healthcare service delivery, but it is deficient when it comes to patients' rights. It has little to say about patients' rights. There are few. Section 20 is there, section 23 is there. We will examine those laws too. Then we have the HIV/AIDS Anti-Discrimination Act 2014. HIV and AIDS Anti-Discrimination Act 2014 is a law that fights against discrimination of persons solely on the ground that they are persons living with HIV/AIDS. So we also have a compulsory care and treatment for gunshot victims act. Now, you can see these are different laws I'm mentioning, and they are all under the federal law. So, acts of the National Assembly. We have the Mental Health Act. It has a patient's rights components. We have the National Health Insurance Authority Act. It has a few components of patients' rights there. So we come to state laws. We are talking sources. We have seen international, we have seen federal acts. We are looking at state law, and we are saying example one is Lagos State's persons living with HIV/AIDS law number 17, laws of Lagos State 2007. Now, Lagos is even ahead of the federal government when it comes to making innovative laws. So Lagos is leading in this area, legislative ingenuity when it comes to using laws to solve problems. So Lagos is ahead, it's leading. You can see that Lagos had its own persons living with HIV/AIDS law number 17, laws of Lagos State 2007. And the federal government enacted the HIV/AIDS Anti-Discrimination Act in 2014, 7 years after Lagos has done this. Then we look at another source number 4, Professional Code of Ethical Conducts. So you now have rules of professional conduct. So we are talking about Professional Code of Ethical Conducts of Medical Health and Healthcare Professionals. So the Nursing Code of Medical Ethics for medical doctors, Nursing and Midwifery Council, their code of professional conduct for nurses, code of professional conduct for pharmacists, code of professional conduct for medical laboratory scientists, and all that. So this is another source of medical law, our patients' rights. Then you have 5, policies and regulations of relevant government agencies. So there are different policies of government that protect the rights of patients. One of such policy is what we know as the Patients' Bill of Rights 2018. It was the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, now Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, now that is responsible for making that act. It is supposed to be for consumers, but they're set out in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Health to bring out 11 good laws. They call it the Patients' Bill of Rights. In this class, we understand that the Patients' Bill of Rights is not enforceable, but the patient's rights that are contained therein are also contained in different acts that can be enforced. Then you have also the standard minimum guidelines for human rights of COVID-19 patients in treatment centers in Nigeria, 2020. This standard guideline was produced by the National Human Rights Commission in 2020 during COVID-19 pandemic. So let's now look at the patient's rights that are applicable in Nigeria. Number 1 is right to treatment in emergency situation. The Section 20 of the National Health Act provides for this. It says that no hospital in Nigeria should deny patients emergency treatment, or should deny patients treatment in emergency situation. And subsection 2 says any hospital or any doctor who does that and found liable will pay a fine of 100,000 naira or go to jail for a term not exceeding 6 months. So imagine that a doctor was imprisoned and they asked, "What did you do?" He says, "It's because I refused to treat a patient in emergency situation." So what are emergency situations? We look at example, cardiac arrest, heart attack is emergency. Dog bites, snake bites is emergency. Labor, pregnancy is emergency. Accident is emergency. So anything that falls under emergency and comes to hospital should be treated first, should not be denied treatment for any reason whatsoever. So reasons like we are on strike is a reason. Unfortunately, it is not tenable. Reasons like the doctor is not around. Reasons like go and deposit 10,000 before we commence treatment is a reason, but it's not tenable because the law says that no person should be denied treatment in emergency situation for any reason. Then sequel to this right is section 1 of the compulsory treatment and care for gunshot victims for victims of gunshot act 2017 also has a similar provision. It says that hospitals in Nigeria, whether private or public, should receive and treat adequately persons with gunshots, with or without police reports. So police report has been an issue. People have died because you did not have police reports. Now, imagine somebody has a gunshot and the person is dripping, blood is dripping, the person is losing blood. The person is rushed to hospital and you say, go and get police report first before we treat you. Do you get it? So it does not make logical sense. The law now says that you should commence treatment before you demand for money. In fact, section 2 says they should commence treatment with or without initial deposit of funds. So it is not just enough that you are asking for police report, you are also asking them to deposit money. But the law is that they commence treatment without initial deposit of funds. So another right, we've talked right to treatment in emergency situation, which can be found under section 20 of the National Health Act, then section 1 of the compulsory treatment and care for victims of gunshot act 2017. So you also have right to information. Now, this is found under section 23 of the National Health Act. It is also one of the rights under the Patient's Bill of Rights. Now, under section 23, what are the components of the information? It just say right to information, but what kind of information? One, the information as to the nature of the ailment. What type of sickness are you suffering from? One. Two, information as to the available treatment options, not just a treatment option that your hospital has expertise in, but all the treatment options medically available. You are to tell the patient, whether your hospital does that or not, tell the patient all the treatment options available. Three, what are the associated risks with each treatment option? What are the probable side effects? If we are taking this treatment option, this is the probable side effect. If we are taking this treatment option, this is the associated risk. If we give you this medication, it's probably going to make you drowsy, so you are advised not to drive. That is giving respecting the patient's rights to information. Then, 4, what are the cost implication of each treatment option? So if you are treating, if you choose this option, this is the price. If you choose this option, this is the cost. If you choose this option. So these are all parts of right to information. One, nature of ailment through diagnostic procedures available. 3, cost implication. 4, probable consequence or associated risk. Then 5, the right to decline that treatment. If you have not said that 5th one, that madam, after I've said all this, you have a right, it's part of your right to refuse treatment. That's the 5 components of right to information. Then we have a third right. That it said section 23 of the National Health Act makes this provision. Then thirdly, we have right to informed consent. Informed consent, section 9 of the Code of Medical Ethics talks about this. When we also have it under the Patient's Bill of Rights as one of the rights a patient has. Then for right to confidentiality of your medical records, In fact, it's also part of your right to information to obtain your medical records. Then right to confidentiality is confidentiality of your medical records. The rule is that only the doctors, only the healthcare professionals who are handling your case have a right to share your medical information within themselves. So what it means is that, let's say a team of 4 doctors, your case is you have a cardiology case, heart-related case, and a team of 4 cardiologists are attending to you in the same hospital. Your information, even if they are all doctors, if a doctor who is a gynecologist is passing by and comes into the ward where you are being attended to and greets his friends, they do not have right to tell that man. He's a doctor, he's working in the same hospital, but he's not part of the medical team handling your case. So he has no right to know about your medical history. They will not wake up and tell the man, Kai, we have this man. His case is complicated. His cardiac arrest matter. But however, we just noticed now that he also has HIV, which is really an underlying ailment. That is wrong. It's most unprofessional. So they do not have a right to share your medical records. Of course, except in exceptional cases, one of which is court order, that the court orders them to share. 2 is in the interest of public health. For example, the Ebola case, the COVID case, if someone has a communicable disease, so they can share so that the person can be quarantined and prevented from spreading that disease. So those are exceptions where then, of course, you, the patient, if you authorize, what it also means is that you see this practice of people who want to get house help, they subject those house help to tests. There is nothing wrong with that. But where everything is wrong is where the laboratory now gives the test results directly to the madam. You also see churches, when they want to wed couple, those marriage committees, they tell the couple to go and conduct tests. That's fine. You need to know your genotype. You need to know whether there are issues around infertility and all that. Fantastic. Your blood group, rhesus factors, and all that. Fine. But that test result should not go to the committee. It should be given to the owners. Let them come and submit their test results. You want to prevent adults from lying, right? Now, are you going to live with the consequence of their lie? The law says their medical report is their personal and private property. They have a right to confidentiality of medical records. In the alternative, what I advise such committees to do, 2, 1, have a consent form. Let the couple sign that they have given consent that their medical records should be sent to the marriage committee. That is 1. 2, let the medical record be produced in duplicates. The laboratory gives one to the owner first, then sends to the committee, so that the owner will have his record before the committee has it. Then we have right to terminate service against medical advice. That's section 20 of the Code of Medical Ethics. It also comes under section 30 of the National Health Act, which is basically right to refuse medical treatment. So it means that you can decline treatment to say, oh, I'm not doing. But the difference here is, if you are terminating against medical advice and you just change your mind after 3 minutes, you say, okay, I'm sorry, I've changed my mind. The hospital is bound to take you back and continue the treatment. But most cases, they don't. But the law, the standard practice is that they should take you back. You have right to transparent billing. We talked about this under healthcare fraud. Right to transparent billing is one of the rights under Section 11 then of Code of Medical Ethics. It is also provided under the Patient's Bill of Rights. We have rights to privacy, Section 11 Code of Medical Ethics. Then you have 10 right to respectful and dignified care. Section 34A of the Constitution and 42 of the Constitution. You also have Section 11E of the Code of Medical Ethics. Now, Section 34 is respect to dignity of human person. Then Section 42 talks about freedom from discrimination. So if you are discriminated against, it is disrespect to your person. Now, we also have right to quality care under Patient's Bill of Rights, right to visitation. Do you know that family, do you know why hospitals allow families to visit patients? Because providing that psychosocial support aids healing, that your people are here with you. You are not abandoned. That people come to show their support, to those to visit you, some come to pray with you, some get you gifts, some just come sit with you, laugh, some come wash your clothes. And that psychosocial support is therapeutic. It aids healing. So you have right to clean, safe, and secured healthcare environments. Some time ago, I shared some videos on Facebook. A hospital ward, monkey was jumping from one pole to the other inside the hospital ward, and they had patients there who had drips on them. Sorry, please, just give me a moment. It's trying to rain and I have clothes outside. Let me bring them in.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
I'll be back, please.
All right, sir. All right. So we'll be giving a few minutes to Mr. Ebenezer for him to go sort out some of his personal issues. So we'll be continuing once he's back with us. But so far, I want to just kindly ask the group, sorry, those who are on call here, if how they've enjoyed the class so far, right? Just before Mr. Ebenezer comes back. Okay, I can see Mr. Daniel, your mic is unmuted. How's the class been so far for you, sir?
Yeah, no, the class has been wonderful, and the informations are really in depth. Yes, I think it's an eye opener. We're trying to open our eyes to some of the things that actually we actually did not know before. Particularly, my major highlight was the one that he was mentioning about. Okay, those marriage committee and the likes of it. That okay, the right of the patient, trying to assess the medical report first before the marriage committee itself. And if otherwise should be done, then they have to take consent from the patient. And you know, I think and then it's a nice one.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Daniel, for that wonderful feedback. Do we have any other person who would like to share some feedback as regards this class? And I'm sure it's going to further help underscore what you have learned, as it will, I believe it will be a driving nail, right? To just, like I said, underscore some
Okay,
of the
I am
things.
back.
All right, thank you.
Apologies
You're welcome back.
for that break. Yes, I am back. So, I was talking about rights to clean, safe, and secured healthcare environments. Now, that video, monkeys were jumping from one end of the hospital ward to another. I posted video too of a hospital where cow went in close to the hospital wall. Now, there have been cases here in Nigeria where thieves attacked hospitals, made away with the valuables, in fact, stole from the doctors their phone number, their phones, their monies, and also stole from the patients. Now, it is a breach of these rights. When a patient is in a hospital, the safety of the patient should be guaranteed by the hospital. Not what we have here most times are gate men. to open gates and close gates, and we call them security men. They are not. So the hospital owes the patient right, clean, safe, secure environment. There have been even cases of those cleaning the floor. The floor is wet. There is no sign to show that the floor is wet. If a patient slips and falls, the hospital is liable for that. So safety is beyond closing and opening the gates. Then we also have rights to religious observance, meaning this under the standard minimum guideline for human rights of COVID patients, 2019, for COVID-19 patients in treatment centers. Now, rights to religious observation is also under the Constitution, of course, right to freedom of thought and religion. So, but all these rights is subject to, for visitation and religion observation, it is subject to the timetable of the hospital. So if somebody is critically ill, maybe a Muslim, and is receiving treatment, and it's time for prayer, the person is on trip, he say he wants to go to the mosque to pray. You now see where there is conflict between his rights to religious observation and also for him to follow the treatment religiously. Then one of the rights the patient has is Section 30 of the National Health Act, right to lay complaint if dissatisfied with the way you were treated. So you have a right, it's a right. All these rights, they are not privileges. It's provided under Section 30 of the National Health Act. So you now see that patients do have rights, and these rights are also enforceable. But how do we enforce these rights? What happens where these rights are breached? So that brings us to our next topic, which is medical negligence, which is violation of these rights, which is medical malpractice. So that is our next topic. Meanwhile, any questions on patients' rights?
Yes, sir.
So far, any questions on patients' rights?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity, sir. So, sir, like you earlier mentioned, talking about the patient's right in the case that you mentioned about, okay, if there are situation of emergencies, no doctor should give reasons, though the reason might be tenable, but no medical doctor should give reasons why the patient should not be treated in the case of emergency, because there are law
Yes.
enacted based on that regard. So my question is this: does this law apply both to private hospital and government
Every
hospital?
hospital in Nigeria. Yes.
Okay.
In
And the
fact,
second question is,
let me read the provision of the act. I want to read it as it is written in the National Health Act, so that you will know that it is not Ebenezer that made it up. A healthcare provider, health worker, or health establishment shall not refuse a person emergency medical treatment for any reason whatsoever. That is the law. A healthcare provider, health worker, or health establishment shall not refuse a person emergency medical treatment for any reason whatsoever. Do you get? Then subsection 2 says that a violation of these rights is punishable by a fine of 100,000 or imprisonment for up to 6 months. Do you get it?
yes, sir.
Hello, is that clear? Yes. So
Yes, sir, it's clear, sir. So
go ahead.
my next question, sir.
Go ahead.
Hello, sir. Okay.
Go
The
ahead.
second one,
Continue.
okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So the second one, equally talking about patients' rights. Okay, you mentioned that every hospital should guarantee the safety of the patient in the hospital. So now, because there are some
Yes.
hospital either like primary healthcare center and other mini hospitals. You see, sometimes some of those hospitals, they don't even have even the local security in question. You just enter with the gate, no any security personnel around, and you just directly you have direct access from the gate to the hospital. So if those laws are they really, is there a way of trying to monitor those things to be sure that these things are actually put in place? Because some of the hospitals, they are not, those things are not actually being observed, despite they are written in the laws.
That is why you are doing this course, to know your rights. Do you understand?
Yes, yes, sir.
In 2021, I was in University of Abuja teaching, FCT School of Nursing, to train their students, FCT School of Nursing and Midwifery, to train their students on promoting patients' rights, particularly the rights of nursing mother, the rights of maternity patients, respecting the rights of maternity patients. Do you understand it? So the issue is that once you know your rights and begin to ask questions around it, it will be obeyed. You understand it?
Yes, sir.
So while we are here, hospitals are being sensitized. That's the point I'm making. On July last year, I was also at the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital to train their nurses on this issue. Fortunately, the chief medical director was in attendance. When I finished training the nurses, the following week, they said I should come back and train their doctors. We are training. We are also sensitizing patients that we are bringing this to the front burner because people do not know. The only way they can get to know is through awareness and sensitization. And that is part of this class, part of what this training intends to achieve. Do you get it?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I sincerely appreciate it.
You are welcome. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So let us look at medical negligence.
Hello,
What
Alright, sir.
is
Before we go, sir. Okay, sir, we have a few
okay?
other people who have questions.
Let them ask.
Yes. All right. So please, sorry, please, who was raising? Okay, Victoria, please, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, thank you, sir. So my question is, in a situation whereby for this right to emergency, a situation whereby the healthcare system does not have the requisite capacity or facility to attend to that emergency care, is it an exception? For example,
No.
maybe a case of accident, and maybe a primary healthcare center cannot attend to that degree of accident, and they refuse to attend to the patient. Is it punishable under the law? That's one of my questions.
Okay. Now we need to get something straight. The problem we have here with our people is that the attitude, we don't have compassion in our hearts. We act like robots sometimes, our healthcare professionals, or not just our healthcare professionals, most people. This is how we do it. This is how we have been doing it. This is how we will do it. We always want to show authority, and we do not look at cases case by case. So that compassion is not there. Why am I saying this? An average healthcare professional is a compassionate person. If you are a Christian, anytime Jesus heals people, the first sentence and he had compassion on them. And then the miracle takes place. You see, there's a difference between dismissal and referral. Dismissal is when a case is brought, go, 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 go. The doctor is not around. We cannot handle it. Go to so and so hospital. That is dismissal. Referral is a valid medical service. Assess the patient. You already know that you cannot handle the case. So after you assess the patient, pull out a referral form, right, refer the patient to a tertiary hospital, refer the patient to another hospital that has capacity or that has the appropriate personnel. So, but for you to just dismiss the person, go, we don't have, no, that is dismissal. And that is what the law is talking about. But you do not have capacity. Is the reason why you are not admitting. So what do you do in the circumstance? You refer them to a hospital that has capacity. And that is quality healthcare service. Does that answer your question?
Yes, very well, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Um,
So if you
all right, sir. So,
dismiss, it is against the law. If you refer, it is not against the law. So go ahead.
all right, sir.
Any
So
other
there's a
question?
question. There's a question on the chat box that says, "What is the solution to the rights for religious observation when the patient is on drip?"
Now, the patient has a right to refuse treatment, provided the patient is an adult and of sound mind and has been told the consequences of his action. So if the patient knows, if the patient has been informed that this step you are taking, it can lead to this, and the patient say, I don't care, I want to go and pray. The hospital will allow the patient to go and pray. Do you get it? But why I brought that example is that these are some ethical dilemma that people find themselves in. Do you get? So once it comes up, we have said that the patient, under principle of patient autonomy, the patient determines what should happen to his body. The patient is the alpha and omega of his body, not the doctor. If the patient dies, it's the patient that died, not the doctor. So once the patient is sound, of sound mind and says, I do not, can you remove this drip? I want to go and pray. And you explain and explain and explain, and you are also sure that it is not an adverse effect of a particular medication the patient took, you allow the patient to go and pray. If he comes back with a worse case, in fact, some cases you might say, if you are going to pray, this movement is going to scatter everything we have done. So we will rather discharge you so that when you pray, you go and look for another this thing. So it is at that point that you say the patient is discharged against medical advice. You give the patient a form to fill that he is discharged. What's the medical advice? Wait for this drip to finish the infusion. Then the patient says no. You give the patient form to fill that he said he should be discharged against medical advice. That's all. Is that okay? Hello?
Yes, sir. That's fine, sir.
Okay. So let's look at medical negligence. Now, medical negligence basically is the failure to use the proper standard of care and skill required to handle a particular treatment. Standard of care and reasonable skill required. That's when you say somebody has been negligent medically. The failure to use the reasonable skill and care required for a medical practitioner of your standing. Meaning that if a resident doctor is handling a case, there is an expectation, there is a level of knowledge and expertise that a resident doctor should have. If a resident doctor has deployed those expertise to handle that case and anything goes wrong, that doctor was not negligent because he did what he is supposed to do at the level of his practice. He has not done anything wrong. Now, in the same case, if a consultant is handling it, there is a particular reasonable skill and care that is required of that consultant. So if a consultant is now treating a patient at the level that a resident doctor is treating a patient, then that consultant is negligent. Does that make sense? Do you understand what medical negligence is? It is the failure to use the required reasonable skill and standard of care of a medicine man of your standing. And I gave an example. I said where a doctor, a consultant is treating a patient, and he is treating that patient as if he was just inducted into the medical profession 2 days ago as a resident doctor. You know, those resident doctors are fresh doctors from medical school. Are you aware? Hello? Can
Yes, sir.
anybody hear me, please? Now,
Yes, sir. We
those
can hear you,
resident
sir.
doctors, they are fresh from medical school, and while they are in the hospital doing housemanship, they are learning. Everything they have done in medical school is theory. So it is now when they are in the hospital that they continue the practical aspects. So you do not expect a consultant of 10, 20, 30 years of practice to have the same experience. The consultant should have a higher experience. So where a house doctor makes a mistake or does something right, but the consultant should have an improved skill of doing the same thing, because he's not a consultant for nothing. He has gone for further trainings and improved himself. Now, that is where we say that the doctor has been negligent. We have to distinguish medical negligence from medical malpractice. Medical malpractice is the intentional act that hurts a patient. In medical malpractice, there is intention to harm the patient. And we discussed in our first lecture, one of the principles is the principle of non-malfeasance, principle of do no harm. So you cannot steal or harvest someone's organ. There was a case in Jos where a woman went for surgery or whatever, and one of her kidney was removed without her knowledge. That's a clear case of medical malpractice. It is not negligence. Negligence is not intentional. Negligence could be out of fatigue, tiredness, because our doctors are stressed. They see multiple number of patients far and above the recommended number. So they run different shifts. You run to this hospital, you did night in this hospital, you are doing morning in the other hospital, you have not slept. You did night in this hospital, you did morning in this hospital, you are doing afternoon or evening in this hospital, you have not had sufficient time to rest. So fatigue would cause negligence. He just sleep, forgets to do what he's supposed to do. What are examples of negligence? One is misdiagnosis. How does misdiagnosis come? Mixing of sample. For example, laboratory scientists. Abba, you are a microbiologist, right? Hello, Abba. Hello. Can you hear me, please? Confirm.
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir. Mr. Daniel, are you
Okay.
still with us?
Can't
Okay,
hear
since
him.
Mr.
Okay.
Daniel is not.
Yes. So misplacement of mixing of sample. You took blood sample from Mr. A, mislabeling. You carry Mr. B's blood sample and labeled it
I'm here,
Mr.
sir.
A's name.
I'm here, sir.
Okay. You are a microbiologist, right?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you understand the implication of mismatching samples or mislabeling samples.
Yes, doing that is a detriment to the patient, which can even lead to the patient can kill the patient, because if the labeling is not done appropriately, that will be a problem.
Beautiful. So that
So that's
is
the moment you collect sample, we label it immediately without having
beautiful.
to waste time.
Now you can have a distraction and now get 2-3 samples. Maybe you are carried away in a gist, or you're eating, they brought sample for you. You say, let me finish this food before I label it. Then they now brought 3 other samples. When you finish eating, you just carry the sample and started labeling, and you mix it up. Now, what that means is that the result of Mr. A will be used to treat Mr. B for an ailment he does not have. So that's a classic example of negligence. He did not set out to mislabel. It was not intentional. Negligence is like a mistake, medical error. Now, another example is giving more dosage than required, or giving less dosage than required of a particular medication. For doctors, you know, some medicines, some drugs, they sound so similar that you may not know the difference. So you might want to write drug A, you write drug B, because the names are so similar. It is medical negligence. Now, that it also has consequences. So just little error. It is different from medical malpractice, which is a deliberate act to cause harm to the patient against the principle of non-malfeasance. Now, that deliberate harm will be in terms of organ theft, which we call organ harvesting. There have been cases of that. So there are other cases. Medical negligence could lead to death. The same thing with medical malpractice. Now, falsification of documents. For example, someone comes for fitness test, and you write that the person is fit when the person is not. That is medical malpractice. It's also fraud, because you are intentionally misleading the organization that wants to employ this person. And the consequence could be that they might give the person task based on his medical report that he is medically fit, whereas he's not, and the person dies. If it is traced to you, the doctor who did that, you go in for medical malpractice. So these are the tiny thread. But how do you prove medical negligence? There are 3 or 4 components that must be present before a case of medical negligence can successfully be granted. One is duty of care, that you must establish that the doctor owed the patient duty of care, that there was a relationship between the doctor and the patient. And this relationship is established in different ways. It could be contractual expressly. For example, if somebody goes to hospital and say he wants to do plastic surgery, or the one that is running for ladies, BBL. Now, if you say you want to do plastic surgery is not like treating malaria or headache. You design what you want, the outcome. Maybe you want your nose to be brought to your cheek, or to be brought close to your ear. And the doctor says we can achieve it. Have you seen some people who plant horn on their forehead, or get surgically, they put horn on their head, or just disfigure their face in scary ways? So now, those are classic examples of plastic surgery. There's nothing more. But they go there, they say, this is what I want. And it is expressed. The doctor says we will achieve it. The plastic surgeon says we will achieve it. That is express. But there are also some that are implied. If you walk into the hospital and the doctor wants to administer injection, and you stand up and you turn your bum for him to administer the injection, or they want a blood sample and you roll your sleeve and stretch your clenched fists and stretch your hand out so that they can see the vein. You have initiated a contract by conduct. In fact, some authorities posit that the moment the patient passes through the hospital gates, that a doctor-patient relationship has been established. And what is this duty of care? That the doctor owes you a legal duty to care for you as his patient. So if there is no duty of care, the doctor is not liable. The issue of negligence does not arise. For example, if the law is that if a doctor is not bound to treat any patients, by that I mean if you people are on a journey, God forbid, and there's an accident, and there's a doctor in that vehicle, that doctor is not mandated by any law to begin to treat patients, injured patients. But if he starts and say, oh, I am a medical doctor, I know what to do, and he begins to treat, the moment he starts treating, the law requires that he must treat the patient to the standard of care that a medical doctor of his standard should deploy in treating a patient. Do you understand it? He's not bound to treat, but if he starts treating, he must utilize reasonable skill and standard of care of a medical practitioner of his standing. So duty of care is one. Two, you establish that the doctor has breached this duty of care. The doctor was supposed to do this but did not do it. So there is a breach of duty of care. The doctor owes me duty of care. The doctor has breached the duty of care. Then number three, you establish that you have suffered harm. That because the doctor breached this duty, this is the harm you suffered. Then number four, which is most important, causation. Linking the breach of duty of care to the harm you suffered. If there's a duty of care and there is harm suffered, a breach of duty of care, and there is harm suffered, that does not necessarily ground judgment in negligence in your favor. There must be established causation. Is it the doctor that caused this duty of care? And then this breach, is it the doctor? Or there is also what we call contributory negligence, which is one of the defenses in cases of medical negligence, that the claimant, that the patient contributed. I'm going to give a live case. I was in court one day, a matter came up. Somebody died. And what happened in that case? It was a criminal case. A man was celebrating his birthday. He invited some people to come in here in Abuja. He invited some people to come for his birthday. Some people came. Then one of his friends, whom he did not invite, showed up for the birthday. And the celebrant said, I did not invite you. Why are you here? Please leave this place. The man that came around said, well, this is a hotel, it's a public place. I have a right to be here. I'm not in your house. This place is a public place. And before you know, an altercation ensued and it got to pushing each other. The one that was not invited pushed the celebrant and the celebrant fell and hit his head on the ground and became unconscious. After a while, he regained consciousness. And sorry, the celebrant pushed the one that was not invited. And that one that was not invited fell, hit his head, and became unconscious. After a while, he regained his consciousness. And they said they should give him a bottle of beer to drink. They refused. He said, okay, let him go to his house. One of them drove him in the car back to his house. That was on a Friday. On Saturday, the man his cleaner came to the house. The person who does house cleaning for him came, was unable to access the door. Then later they called that his friend that took him home, or rather, his sister, not his cleaner. His sister came to the house because he had planned to host his family on Saturday. So his sister came, saw him in a bad condition, and raised the alarm. But they didn't take him to hospital. Then on Sunday, his cleaner came to clean the house and now raised the alarm that he's in a bad condition. It was on that Sunday that he was taken to hospital. The first hospital they took him to delayed the whole day, did nothing. The second day, they didn't do much. They are looking for vein or whatever test they are supposed to run. Then they moved him from the first hospital to another hospital. Then that second hospital delayed again before they got the tests run. Then delayed again for another day before they got the test results out. Then on the 5th day, the man died. So they now arrested the person he had altercation with that pushed him and charged him for murder. And I was in court the day he was arraigned and took his plea and then led in evidence and all that. I was in court that I witnessed it. Now, there's what we call contributory negligence. As soon as that incident happened, instead of going to his house, the man should have gone to hospital to run scan, total scan, particularly his head that he hit on the ground, to know whether there is internal bleeding. They didn't do that. They went to hospital 2-3 days after. So you now see that there's break in chain of action. There's a break in chain of action. But it's the duty of the lawyer to establish that. It's not my duty. So why am I telling this story? Issue of causation. Is it a free flow from the moment he hit his head straight, and he kept degenerating until he died? Would anything have been done to mitigate the effects? So for you to secure conviction in medical negligence, you have to, one, or for you to secure judgment, rather, in medical negligence, you have to establish that there is duty of care between you and the doctor. The doctor owes you duty of care. Two, the doctor has breached the duty of care. Three, that you suffered harm as a result of that breach. Four, that there is a causation. It is that breach that led to the harm you suffered. Once you have these four ingredients, the court will give judgment in your favor. Now, where there are violations in patients' rights, what are the available remedies? One is that there is professional or administrative redress. Administrative redress requires that you talk to the healthcare practitioner who caused the harm. If it is a minor thing and it is what is negligible, what apology can suffice, what the hospital management can intervene, take a position. I've handled a case that a lady wanted to sue a hospital and they reached out to me. I will weigh the case, the delicate nature. It was a kidney dialysis matter, and the mother had stayed 2 weeks at home without going for dialysis, and they said they want to sue the hospital. I told them, we will still be in the process of filing the case, and to get a date to sue this hospital, your mother will die. So why don't we explore the option of alternative dispute resolution? I reached out to the CMD of the hospital. Graciously, he accepted. We went and negotiated. The hospital apologized firstly, and the hospital said, going forward, Mama, we are going to treat you without cost. This dialysis you are doing, you were paying before, henceforth you will be doing dialysis at free of charge. So you see that approach is administrative redress. And once they started the treatment, it stopped everything. She had a legitimate complaint, but the management of the hospital intervened and resolved it. Then we also have professional redress, where it goes beyond the hospital, the management, or if you feel dissatisfied with the management's approach, you can go for professional redress. You report the case to the professional body of the person involved. If it's a doctor, you go to Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria. If it's a nurse, you go to Nursing and Midwifery Council. If it is a pharmacist, you go to their council, like that. So you take professional redress. For Medical and Dental Council, complaints are brought before them by way of affidavits. So you state your case and all that, you file it, you go to High Court, swear to affidavit, and you take it to them and file. They will forward your affidavit to the other doctor. He will make his response and return. Then they will send you his response back and forth until they establish a prima facie case of medical negligence. Then they will take it up from there. 2 or 3 now, we have the legal redress. Under the legal redress is twofold. One is criminal, second is civil. If it's each case that involves medical malpractice, if it's case that involves murder or death rather, murder is flagged. So the case is reported to the police to investigate. When the police does its investigation and establishes a prima facie case, the police will charge the doctor to court under our criminal law jurisprudence. If it's not a criminal, if it does not, there's no death and there is no severe loss of organ, you can talk about loss of man hour. You can talk about any other damages. So you come by way of damages, you claim damages in court. If you establish other harms you suffered, you claim damages in court, and the court will grant damages in your favor. But how do you now claim your damages? So that brings us to our last topic or subtopic of the day, evidence gathering. How do you gather evidence for medical law litigation or for medical negligence litigation? Evidence gathering is you don't go to the hospital and say, okay, give me my medical report. They will doctor it and give you. So you gather evidence from the day one you enter the hospital. From the day one. You do what we call journaling. You gather evidence by firstly knowing the names of the persons who are attending to you. The doctor attending to you, the nurse attending to you. You know their names. You don't do that by shouting, come, what is your name? I have a right to know your name. You do it codedly, you get there. In fact, by the standard practice is that before a healthcare professional attends to you, he's supposed to tell you his name, his qualification. By qualification, I am XYZ, I major in this, I have been practicing for XYZ number of years. Not basically by telling you I made first class, no. His qualification that he is a surgeon, he's a dental surgeon, he's a neurosurgeon, he's a gynecologist. Now, he is a ear, nose, and throat doctor. Do you understand? He's a cardiologist. Now, this will help you relax, make you know that you are dealing with a professional and not with a quack. Because most times, everybody that wears white lab coats in the hospital is regarded by patients as doctor. They just call anybody in white coat doctor, 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 doctor. And it is not so. So the healthcare professional is supposed to introduce himself to you, his name, how long he has been working, his experience, and his primary area of specialization. So that is it. Now, the name of the person attending to you, the names of the medication, you also need to know the time belt, the shift Was it morning shift he worked? Was it afternoon? Was it evening or night shift? You should know the shift. Then the third is your right to know the names of the drugs being given to you and their side effects. So you should ask questions. It's in asking questions that you gather evidence. So if they give you a drug, you should ask the name and know the name. You should ask the function and know the function. You should ask the side effects and know the side effects. Then other observations is what you do in your journaling. If they took your sample, you should note it. They took your sample on this day. This was when they returned the result. You should note it. So that is you. And you don't announce these things you're doing. Gradually, you're doing your journaling. Then, if anything happens, you do not threaten them that you are going to sue them. No. If you are dissatisfied with the hospital, live quietly. Do not make any trouble in the hospital. Don't exhibit any anger. Now, if the treatment is ongoing and you already have plans, you notice something is wrong, politely tell them that you need this test results. Your brother is asking for the test results and they want to another family doctor who is based in UK to look at what they have done so far. Politely, not by way of quarrel. They will give the results to you. They will give your medical record. Can give them an email, kindly send to this email, establish contact. They will package everything and give to the person. At this point, there has been no wahala. Now, if there is wahala, meaning you have been discharged, if you are not satisfied and you are still alive, you can ask them that you are seeking at the medical treatment elsewhere and they need your results, your medical record. That way you get it easily. Once you make trouble, they are going to doctor everything and you will not have your correct medical record. So once you show them sign of trouble, they will put everything perfect in order. Once you come, they will give it to you. And once you have the wrong document, you've lost your case. Then again, if you are to call your witness, you don't just call any medical doctor to come and testify for you. If it's a gynecological case, go and call a gynecologist. In fact, once you get your medical reports, the first thing you do is you look for a medical professional of the same standing with the man that treated you. You look for a medical professional of the same standing with the man that treated you. If it's a cardiologist, a consultant cardiologist, go and look for a consultant cardiologist to look at those results first, to look at the medical record first. You do not understand. So he will now look at it and say, okay, they got it right. No, they made a mistake here. It should have been this way. Okay. Which test did they run? They omitted to run this particular test. Why? This test is what they are supposed to start with. So you give it to a medical personnel of the equal standing. Is that medical personnel that we know and say, okay, if this happened, this happened, this happened, this should be the likely outcome. But if they omitted this particular procedure, okay. So even in calling a witness, you call a witness of equal standing. If it's if the person that attended to you is a resident doctor on housemanship, let your witness in court be a resident doctor of housemanship because they have the same knowledge. They both know the right thing to do at that their level. But if the person who attended to you is a consultant, and then when you are calling your witness, you brought a doctor, okay, let's assume the person who attended to you is a cardiologist. Then when you want to call your witness, you brought somebody who is a gynecologist. Both of them are medical doctors, but they are in different fields of medicine. So you will not achieve the result you want. So these are the few steps to gather your evidence. One is you befriend the people, you are not harsh. Then, of course, the crooked way, because we are talking practice now, is that the person, you get an insider who will be your friend, who will be able to give you information before the doctor anything. And this one is done discreetly. It's not done at the management level. And you dare not open your mouth to mention who gave you that information. So this brings us to the end of our class today. If there are questions, let's have them. Questions?
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Ebenezer. Please, if we have questions,
Yeah, I
you can kindly.
underwent that minor dental surgery yesterday. I can't use my mouth freely. I am here just to
Oh,
listen. Sorry about that, please. Sorry about that.
all right. Sorry about that, sir. So please, do
No,
we
not
have
me. I'm reading the message and the
Oh,
chat.
okay. Oh, okay. All right. So please, do we have live questions for Mr. Ebenezer so that we can take them before we end today's session? Okay. While we wait for questions, I think I have a question, sir. So my question is, do patients' rights, does it only apply to those in professional medicine? For instance, if a traditionalist was to, someone practicing traditional medicine was to receive a patient, is he also obliged to give the same patient's rights treatment to his customer in that sense, or he's not bound by law to do that?
Okay, that's a very intelligent question. Now, there are different areas of tradomedical practice. In fact, tradomedicine is recognized under the medical ethics. Do you understand? Under the code of medical ethics. However, the person has to be trained and certified in tradomedicine. The problem we have in tradomedicine in Nigeria is that every Dick, Tom, and Harry is a tradomedical practitioner. You just enter the bush, pack whatever concussion, and put together and call yourself a tradomedicine medical practitioner. And people believe in the potency of those concussions that does not have dosage, that are not subjected to laboratory tests to know the chemical components and whether they are compatible with human tissues and organs. A lot of cases of kidney failure are products of those concussions that people pour into their system, a whole lot of things. Are you aware that all these people who carry, some people will bring those roots and herbs boiled, then they will now go and buy painkillers and put into those things and be selling them. So you see the mixture already. You are drinking it. Once you take it, your body, any pain inside you disappears. But those are heavy duty painkillers that I don't want to mention some names. Those are heavy duty painkillers that has been mixed in that thing. Once you take it, you say, oh, I just took this one yesterday. My body is strong. But you don't know what's happening to your system. So the challenge here is that we don't even have, I doubt if we have a database of registered tradomedical practitioners. I know they have association. And you have given me an assignment with this question. I'm going to seek out their association and conduct a research on whether they observe medical patients' rights as we know it. But I will tell you even before I conduct my research that most of them don't. You know why I say so? Some of them, their approach is crude. Have you gone to traditional bone setters before? They use
So I've
force.
seen some of them, but I've not gone there myself personally.
So they use crude force, brute force. Now, the trained trado bone setter, what he will do is, if you have a bone fracture, what he will do is to first of all run an X-ray and see the nature of the fracture. Then that will guide him in where to do his massage, because it's basically through massaging, application of ointments, and over time. Now, some people, once they see it, some people they have this reputation. Once you go to that man, just give him 2 months. Once you go to that man, no matter how pieces the bone is, he will fix it together. Those things, some of them are trial and error. And once they start stretching the same place and all that, because sometimes you too, you have gotten accustomed to the pain. In some cases, they get it right. But if they can infuse technology into what they are doing by just having an X-ray machine, even if they don't have, if anybody comes, okay, go and run X-ray, they will now see the bone, how it got affected or fractured. That will guide them, that will reduce a lot of trial and error. In some cases, in fact, the advanced cases, they open it up, they cut off a little here, there, put a little screw the whole thing together, close up the place, and the person is working. So I would want to believe, I am not sure, I would want to believe that in most cases they do not observe these patients' rights. But like I said, it is a research topic for me, and I'm going to take it up. Firstly, by locating their office and getting in contact with their ESCOs and engaging with them to see how they go about their practice vis-a-vis the provisions of the law and patients' rights. Thank you once again for bringing that question up. I will do something on it.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And we will also be very, very much happy if at the end of the research, sir, you are able to share some of your findings with us.
Definitely. I
So,
always share experiences. So
yes, sir. So thank you very much, sir. So please, do we still have questions, or is that all from
any more
um
question?
Yes, I have
any
a
more
question.
questions?
Please
All right,
ask
please
your
go ahead.
question.
Okay, so just to be clear, because I listened when you were explaining the rights of patients, and I listened to the rights to treatment in emergency situations. So I just want to clarify this because in Nigeria, most hospitals reject, no, they don't necessarily reject, but they refuse to treat patients that have some severe injuries like stab wounds and what have you. They always say you need to get a police report. So am I to understand from your explanations that they actually have to administer treatment first before they seek for police reports?
That is what the law says. Let me look for the law and quote it
Okay.
verbatim so that you will understand. That's section
Okay.
1 of Compulsory Treatment and Care for Gunshot Victims Act, uh,
Okay.
Victims of Gunshot Act 2017. I'm going to read sections 1 and 2.
Okay, sir.
Section 1. As from the commencement of this act, every hospital in Nigeria, whether public or private, shall accept or receive for immediate and adequate treatment, with or without police clearance, any person with a gunshot wound. Section 2. Every person, including security agents under, this is Section 2, yeah? Every person, including security agents, shall render every possible assistance to any person with gunshot wound and ensure that the person is taken to the nearest hospital for immediate treatment. That's Section 2.1. Subsection 2, okay, let me read Section 3. Oh, no, Subsection 2. I've read Sub 1 first, read Section 2, Sub 1. Section 2, Sub 2. A person with a gunshot wound shall be received for immediate and adequate treatment by any hospital in Nigeria with or without initial monetary deposits. And a person with gunshot wound shall not be subjected to inhuman and degrading treatment or torture by any person or authority, including the police or other security agencies. Did you hear what I read?
Yes, I did.
Now,
Yes,
why I
sir.
usually insist on reading is this thing, sometimes if you hear it for the first time, you will think, what is Barrister Ebenezer talking about? No, that's not true. So this is the position of our law. The challenge is that there is no enough sensitization as to these laws. Do you get it? That has been the challenge.
Yes, sir.
But the laws are in place, and in our own capacity, my NGO, we are doing what we can within our capacity to sensitize people about the existence of these laws.
Okay, sir.
Do
But
you
sir,
understand
sorry
it?
to cut you short. Yes, sir, I
Yes.
understand perfectly. Sorry to cut you short. So this law made cognizance to gunshot victims. How about stab
Yes.
victims? Can they be categorized under this class?
I said now there are two different laws here. One,
Okay,
this
sir.
is Compulsory Treatment and Care for Gunshot
For
Victims
gunshot
Act
victims.
2017.
17.
I also made reference to the National Health Act 2014, and I
Okay,
quoted
sir.
Section 20. Now, I told us that that our patients' rights are not all contained in a single document. I don't know if you were in the class when I made that statement, that our
So
patients'
I'm
rights
aware
are
about that.
scattered in different laws, in different
Yes, sir.
acts of the national. We also talked about the different sources of patients' rights. Now, let me read
Yes, sir.
Section 20 of the National Health Act. The notes, the marginal note says emergency treatment. It reads Section 21. A healthcare provider, health worker, or health establishment shall not refuse a person emergency medical treatment for any reason. Let me read it again. A healthcare provider, health worker, or health establishment shall not refuse a person emergency medical treatment for any reason. 2, that's subsection 2. A person who contravenes this section commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine of 100,000 or to imprisonment for a period not exceeding 6 months or to both. So, if you contravene this provision of the law, you are liable to pay a fine of 100,000 or imprisonment for a period not more than 6 months. Even if it is 1 day, even if it is 2 days, even if it is 1 week, or to both imprisonment and a fine. Do you get? Now,
Yes, sir.
I said emergency cases. Of course, stab wound is part of it. Gunshots is part of it. Accident is part of it. bite, snake bite is part of it. Cardiac arrest is part of it. Labor is part of it. So there are a lot of things that can come in as emergency. So you now see where evidence gathering comes in. That when you get to hospital, standard hospitals, they have their name tags on. So if you get to a hospital and the nurse is there at the emergency unit, in some cases, the patient is still in the car. They even come to the car to discharge the patient without allowing the patient to even come in. In such a case, all you need to do is to note that today's date is Sunday, the 8th day of September, and that the time is 5 something of to 6 or 6 o'clock thereabouts, and that it is Nurse Gloria that attended to us. Now, what you do in that circumstance, if they discharge you, or dismiss you rather, you go to another place and seek help and get well first. That is common sense. Then you now come and file a suit against the hospital for toying with your life, for refusing to treat you in emergency situation. So that is it.
Thank you very
Dr.
much,
Reta,
sir.
good evening. Welcome. So any other question, please? Hello, any other question? Hello?
Hello, sir. We can hear you, sir. So in the absence of any question, I think we are going to call it a night. I think Dr. Arita just joined us. Sorry, ma, we're about to close the session. You're welcome. Thank you so much for still joining, irrespective. In light of this, for this week, we were able to treat, it's between last week and this week, from last week, we were able to treat health tech fraud and abuse. And in this week, we're able to treat patients' rights, evidence gathering, and medical negligence and malpractice. So moving forward in the next class, hopefully, we'll be looking forward to combining week 4, the topic for week 4, and that is
Yes.
emerging issues in healthcare, and the topic for
Yes.
from this particular week. So please, we'll be doing that, and we ask our mentors to please bear with us so that they can shuffle between those two, between the two topics. So thank you very much,
There
sir,
is no
and thank you
problem.
very much.
You
Thank you very
can see
much.
that both medical negligence and patients' rights is a standalone talk. You can see how exhaustive, even though we have not done exhaustive work so far, but you can see that discussion of patients' rights alone and medical negligence and malpractice has taken us complete 2 hours. And last week we did healthcare fraud, and it also so in your next session, your next quarter, please split the topic, split
Yes,
them
sir.
the way we did it this time around. Let healthcare fraud stand alone. Let medical malpractice and patients' rights stand alone. Thank you.
Yes, I will be doing just that, sir. And then to the mentees, please, we kindly encourage you, for those who are on this call and for those who are consistent with the program, we'll be collapsing the two groups into one so that we can have just one single group for the health tech and law class. Please, in view of that, right, we'll also be advising those who have not been very active in the presentations and the group work. So please take the program very serious, as non-compliance may lead to them being removed from the program. So we'll be
Good evening, sir.
reaccessing those.
Sorry.
Yes, good
My
evening,
network
Miss.
was. Oh, good evening, sir. I'm so sorry about this. I just got a connection for my phone. I finished a meeting not quite long. So I saw my battery level. I was trying to get home to a place where I could charge it. Do you understand? I'm so sorry. I was supposed to come in by 5 p.m., which is exactly the time we finished our CTC in church. But although we finished past 5 today. Oh, I'm so sorry about that, sir. As
No,
all
no
my
problem,
students.
ma'am.
All right. I will be able to
Thank
make
you.
up for this, please. Maybe the next
All right, no
time.
problem, ma. No
Thank you
problem, ma.
so
We look forward to
much.
having you in another session, ma.
Thank you so much. I
Doctor,
appreciate
good
it.
evening.
Hey, Barrister, good evening, sir. Is it you?
Long time.
Oh, long time, sir. It's been a long time, sir. Happy New Year and everything.
Thanks.
Wow, so
Thank
sorry,
you.
today
There's no
I
problem.
came
I
in
was
late.
looking forward to having you on the call
Yes,
because he
I
told
had
me.
several meetings and my battery was already very, very down. I just got connected now. God bless you,
There's no
sir.
problem.
It's been long.
Yeah, so
Hello?
thank you very much to our mentors. Can you hear me, ma? All right, so thank you
Yes.
Yes,
to
I
our
can
both
hear very well.
mentors.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, thank you to our both mentors. I look forward to seeing everyone in class come next week. Right. So please take care and enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night, everyone.
Have you taken your pictures?
Yeah, sorry, sir. It skipped my mind. So please, sorry about that. Thank you for reminding me. So please, if we have mentees on call, please, we would like to take a quick screenshots. All right. So thank you very much. Please, just a moment.
They just took the lights. Okay, maybe I will on the generator. My face is a bit dark.
All right. Thank you very much. We've taken the picture.
Okay, awesome.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. So we look forward to seeing everyone in the next class. Goodbye and take care.
Thank you.